What if I told you that if you reverse everything you do right now, you can actually double, even triple your results? Hey there, my friends. Dan Deegan here, and welcome to another episode. In today's episode, actually, before we even begin, make sure to subscribe. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell, get notified when we release new content, because every week we're trying to up the game and bring you new strategies. And today's strategy is one that has helped me double, triple, even quadruple my results without spending any extra time working. Often I've heard people say, if you want more business, you make more calls, make more calls. What if we reverse and we flip everything on its head and you reverse engineer the entire logistics industry? And what do I mean by that? Well, think about your typical sales cycle right now, right? You pick up the phone, you find a prospect, and you get along, you move that prospect, you say, okay, I'm going to get you some numbers, we're going to get some numbers, you get some numbers, you try and call them back, and then it's like, you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 calls before you get back in touch with them. All of a sudden, before you know it, seasons have changed, and it's like, well, what was it again that we talked about? And you're like, oh, okay, and you start all over again, and all of a sudden, right back to the beginning, and then you're back to where you are. That's a typical sales cycle, especially in today's day and age. But what if we started with the end in mind? And think of it like this, right? So realistically, on the end of the spectrum, you have a lane, you have your costing, you have your volume, right? You have maybe at that point you have your pickup times and delivery times set, or days. So days, time, etc. You have all these things set, and in that process, it's taken you 3 months to get to this. Reverse engineered logistics is a very simple factor. You pick 5 to 10 of your top suppliers. And why do we say top suppliers? Because here's the thing. As a freight broker, as a logistics professional, the one thing you have is your image, credibility, and your brand. That's the nucleus of everything you do. When you choose the wrong supplier, the wrong partner to help your customer achieve their goals, and they screw up, you lose. That's the difference. So why not start with the people that make you look good? Because what's your job as a freight broker? Your job is to make the customer look good. So start with a company you get along with. Start with a company that you like. Start with a company that has the same values, service, ethics, morals in you. And what you do is you start there. And then you go in and you say, okay, Mr. Company, Mr. Friends, what lanes are you looking for? Okay, so you talk about the volume. You talk about things like how long have they been delivering to that location? Right? You talk about things like the hours left when the driver delivers to go pick up your lane. You talk about costing, and they say, okay, on this lane, I need $1,000. I have 3 trucks a week, and based on, kind of call it a 50-mile radius. On that 50-mile radius, we can be there by 10 a.m. daily, every 3 times a week, okay? So there's your volume. You've got that, your check, you're 3 times a week, right? Our transit time is next day. So think about this for a second. Before you even pick up the phone to make a call to a prospect, you have all this information. Now what happens is when you go in to make that call and the prospect says, you know what, that does interest me. What do you got? Well, Mr. Prospect, we're there 3 days a week. Based on where you are, I'm delivering at XYZ company about 23 miles away. Not only delivering at XYZ company, we've been delivering to XYZ company for just about 4 years now. We've got a contract where we've locked down 3 loads a week for the next 4 years. So I can have capacity for you 3 times a week, guaranteed. Doesn't matter what's happening in the economy or what's happening with capacity or what's happening with this or that. Guaranteed, barring, a natural disaster, snowstorms, and all these other storms that we seem to be having more and more, or highways closing, I could be there. My costing is $1,300 a load. And this is just hypothetical process. Right now I'm thinking that my number is going to be 12. You can make a decision on the spot to go to $1,200 because your cost is $1,000. Yeah. You know what? How long are you loading? I can have your guy in and out of here in half an hour. If you can have me in and out of here in half an hour, I'll do it at $1,200. Okay. Now, here's the way it kind of works. We're going to have, by the time we deliver, we're going to be about 3 hours on. So we're going to only have 7-8 hours left on our logbooks in order to make delivery. But based on your pickup time, based on that transit, I could do delivery next day for you. It'd be about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's on the first call. Think of how, if we go back to my scenario where I say, okay, here is your sales cycle in a linear fashion, right? Right? X is the goal. X is the customer. Right? So if we understand that X is the goal, this is your first call. And if you have all of this in your back pocket on the first call, you avoid this call, this follow-up. You actually jump pretty much down here. Do you see what I'm saying? So if this is your tip on a typical sales sequence, if this is your call, then you go back and you got to get numbers. Then you send the numbers off. Right? Then you send the numbers, right? Then the customer's got to look at the numbers, and then all of a sudden you set up a follow-up call. What you've done by having this right at the beginning, before anything happens, this is what you have. What happens is you jump all the way, because if the price is right, if the service levels are right, what happens? You automatically move. Now it's just a matter of, okay, well, even if all this is good, it's kind of that, who are you? What do you do? That kind of thing. But here's the beautiful thing is, because you started with the supplier, because you started with the end in mind, Stephen Covey, that is one of the best portions of any book that will ever be written. Start with the end in mind. When you start with the end in mind, you've taken care of the service. You can make the phone call with authority, knowing that your backup has your back and they are solid, they're bulletproof, that's going to happen. All of this drives that passion. All of this helps you jump sequences in your sales sequence. This is how you shorten sales timelines. This is how you truly identify the customers you want. Hey, do you ship to these areas? No, thank you very much. Have a great day. Some of you brokers that might say, but you're leaving stuff on the table. No, you're not. Focus on 5 to 10 suppliers. If each of them have 3 to 4 lanes, right? And you have 10, you have 30 to 40 lanes to cover. That is going to fit in most people's wheelhouses. But you're doing it with suppliers that you know will help you get to the next level. You know they need you. All right? Imagine you become the sales force for 10 of your top suppliers. What do you think that's going to do to your relationship? You go in with a driver-centric focus. What is it that you need for your drivers? What will make your drivers the happiest? And you merge the two worlds, because that's what we do. Now you go into every customer knowing you are going to take care of them 100%, that the market fluctuations, that all the crap happening in today's world is not going to impact the value you can bring to the table. That's reverse engineered logistics to its core. Until next time, my friends, remember, go out there, make every call educational, crush your sales, and you're only one applied idea away from the life you've truly dreamed of. Take care.